Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of the Rockstar Manifestors podcast. This episode is one of the, podcast specific episodes, if you will, which means this is not something that I do on a Facebook Live, like the weekly episode that I do as well. So this is strictly on the podcast platforms and on YouTube, my podcast, section on my YouTube channel. So those of you that are catching it, awesome, thank you. This series is called the Lunar Year Series. And what I do through this series is actually walk you through how the lunar cycle can be applied to an entire calendar year. So not ideally, but typically we think of starting in January or the winter season, which is what we're currently in. However, I started this series last year in 2023 in the springtime. So I did not start at the quote unquote beginning of the lunar cycle or beginning of the calendar year. I actually started in the springtime. And when I started it, I thought, or I guess I was thinking I would just do like a one whole series throughout one entire year and then just kind of leave it at that. However, I'm kind of thinking and kind of feeling like I want to keep going through the seasons and applying the lunar cycles and working with the lunar cycles on an ongoing basis. At least that's how I'm feeling right now. And the reasons for that is one, to keep myself accountable, to keep myself in tune and in also doing the work, because that's actually what seems to work for me when I say and do it publicly or do it with other people, where it's not just me. I'm not just committing to doing it for or on my own, like for myself or on my own, but also committing to other people to do it. And that would be you guys. So you doing this for you guys is actually you guys helping to keep me accountable and going through the process as well. And also, another reason is to help myself connect and stay connected with the rhythm of the lunar cycle and the seasons, because in the way that generally that society is set up, it does not follow the seasons. It does not follow the lunar rhythms and the lunar cycles. And so it is very easy to fall into that and get back into that or stay caught up in that kind of hustle or go, go, go. And really, I notice that when I tune in and follow the energies of the lunar cycle along with the seasons, that things go, they feel more aligned, if you will. I mean, there are still, of course, challenges and things that come up and things that are required in life that maybe don't align, but knowing that I can get back to that or finding ways to apply those energies, and that's just that rhythm to those external things is really beneficial. So as of right now, I'm going to keep it going throughout the season. So it sounds like, oh, it's going to be so much. It's 4 episodes a year on this Lunar Year series, going with the quarters, the 4 major quarters of the lunar cycle, which tie in and connect with the 4 seasons of the year. And so whether you've caught the previous episodes that I've done up until now on this Lunar Year series, or this is your first one, you can definitely go back and listen if you choose, or just kind of jump in and move forward with us as we go here on forward. But let me break down how the lunar cycle can be applied to the calendar year following the season. So right now we are in winter, at least at the time I'm recording this, it's February 4th of 2024. So we are in the winter season here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the winter season aligns with the new moon phase of the lunar cycle. This is the time that we set intentions and The way that I work with intentions is identifying how you want to feel and using that as your intention to guide you in your action taking, decision making, all the things. Because when you work with how you want to feel as an intention, as opposed to a measurable result or an external result, like getting a job or a promotion or some actual tangible, measurable, visible result, you can manifest the feeling in an infinite number of ways doing at any given moment. So by manifesting the feeling of those external results, which are goals, then you move yourself, at least the way I see it, we move ourselves closer to it and are more receptive to opportunities and maybe things we weren't aware of to help get us there. So manifesting the feeling does move you closer to that physical or tangible result, which actually, the way I work with it, is a goal as well. And if you don't have goals, if you're someone that really struggles or goal setting is not something that comes naturally to you, or for whatever reason, you don't like setting goals, working with intention is actually a great way to still achieve things that you want, because you think about how it will feel, how you want to feel, how having things in your life that you want feels, and use that as your guide, and you actually accomplish goals along the way. Whether you physically set them or not, you start noticing these changes and accomplishments that you're achieving, or results. I guess that's a better way. Results that you are accomplishing and achieving, which someone else might have set as a goal. So there are many ways. It's all about fine-tuning it for yourself, making it your own, because really that's how things work. That's when things work, when they resonate with us, when they are unique to us, and it means something to us, right? That's how it goes. So winter aligns with the new moon phase of the lunar cycle, and then spring aligns with the first quarter moon phase. And the first quarter moon is that action taking time, which really, if you look at it, that makes sense, right? Spring is when things are starting to grow. The weather is typically getting warmer or has gotten warmer. There is more noticeable light, because winter is the dark time. And then summer aligns with the full moon phase. So think of the full moon, that's when it's its biggest and brightest in the sky. It's got the most energy that it is putting out. And that is also the summertime, right? That's when we're typically most active. The days are hot. There's the most amount of light that we have typically throughout the year. And then the fall aligns with the third quarter phase of the lunar cycle. And this is when we have reaped the harvest or the rewards or the results, right, through the previous 3 quarters. And then the third quarter is when we're taking inventory. We're taking stock and reflecting on what we've learned, what we've accomplished, what we've achieved, what lessons we have learned, and then looking and taking that information and applying it forward. So like dreaming up a new way of being, a new way of moving through the world, a new way of life, of life looking differently. How do we want things to look differently? How can what we've learned and the actions we've taken and the progress that we've made move us into a different way of experiencing life and amplifying the things that are great? And this is how, when this following this process of the intention setting and working with the rhythms of the lunar cycle, that's how we develop those dreams that we don't know we have. That's how we attract the action steps that we don't know. We know that we say, I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to do that. By doing the things, following the lunar cycle, identifying how you want to feel, this is how those stepping stones of the path are revealed to us, right? It's like you've heard that we need to take that first step, and then the rest of the steps will be revealed along the way. This is a great framework to follow the lunar cycle and the seasonal cycle to help you stay on track and help you tap into the energies, your system, your cycle, your energies, your personal rhythm, and either apply it to the lunar cycle or apply the lunar cycle to your rhythms, because we all have different rhythms as well. So that's how the 4 seasons correlate with the 4 main quarters of the lunar cycle. And so now let me get into kind of like this season, like this winter and new moon intention setting season, right? So like I said, we are in winter, and this is the new moon time of the year. And so we are setting intentions. And if you'll notice, or I'll tell you, I'm recording this in February, and winter starts on December 21st. If we're looking at the calendar, looking at it calendrically, I think that's the word. It started back in December. And it's also a season. Winter goes from December 21st till about March 21st, 22nd, when we switch over to the spring season on the calendar. And so if you look at it as working with the season, it's not like a do or die. That really helped me realize that I could, it takes the pressure off of thinking, oh my gosh, I have to know all my goals and I have to set all my intentions and know all of the things by January 1st, when really we are just getting into the winter season, January 1st, when the calendar year starts. And I've got some episodes back, a little ways back, also talking about how I don't set resolutions and I set intentions and work with a word of the year. So that's the type of thing I do at the beginning of the calendar year, like in the January, December, January timeframe, but I'm still not, it's not like a set in stone type of thing. And so now it's February and we're still in the winter season, and we have about a month and a half still or so left on the calendar, so to speak, before we get into that spring season. So if you're listening to this and you either did not set intentions, did not set goals, you thought, oh, I didn't set resolutions, so this year's already wasted, that is not the case at all. And that's what I love about, that's one of the things I love about working with this rhythm and this cycle that the lunar cycle and the seasonal cycle provides, because it's not like a one and done. We have a space of time to do that. And even with the monthly lunar cycle, like with the new moon that we have every single month, it's not like, oh, if you don't set your intention on the day of the new moon, the lunar cycle is not wasted, because the moon is in the new moon phase for about 2 to 3 days for each cycle, or each phase. That's right, each phase. And so there's still a space of time. And there are 8 lunar or phases of the moon, 9 if you work with the dark moon. However, I really follow the 4 main quarters. So from the new moon to the first quarter moon is about a week when we're working with the monthly lunar cycle, and then about another week to the full moon, then another week to the third quarter moon, and then back around and next week to the next new moon. And so with the seasonal aspect of it, we have a whole 3 plus, 3-ish months, let's say 3 months for each phase and each season. So now you can still work with this new moon energy for the year and ask yourself, how is it that I want to feel? How do I want to feel in my life? How do I want to feel this year? How do I want to feel this quarter? You can apply it to whatever time frame or whatever aspect you want. And so, like I said, how do you want to feel in your life? How do you want to feel in your job? How do you want to feel in your home? How do you want to feel in your relationships? All these things are totally applicable. And then as we work through the calendar year, we can work with each individual new moon to either support the overall intention or commit, recommit and strengthen that intention for the overall one. There's, like, again, so many ways that you can work with this energy and with this process. So winter and the new moon is the intention setting time. And I talk about how you want to feel. That's how I'll always ask you when we're working with intentions. And so it makes sense. It aligns that winter and the new moon correlate, because winter is the darker time of the year. And when we have a new moon in the sky with the monthly lunar cycle, the new moon happens when it's not visible in the sky. It's dark. It doesn't even have a sliver of the light yet. So the new moon is the dark time of the lunar cycle. And that's when we're setting those intentions, getting clear on how we want to feel, asking ourselves the questions, maybe planning for the action steps that we will take, but not yet really putting the full force energy into that. So seasonally, winter is the darker and slower time of the year. There's more night than day, and it's not really a fast-paced, action-taking, or even goal-setting time energetically, right? Think about nature. Since we're talking about following the cycles, the seasonal cycles, think about nature. In the winter, that's when the trees have lost their leaves already and they're regenerating for that spring season, when they will start putting those leaves, the energy into growing leaves, and that when the flowers and the plants start blooming more flowers. There are, of course, parts of the country that have flowers in the winter. Here in California is one of them. But it's less intense, and it's limited, and it's darker, and that still feels like a slower time, right? So it's not the fast-paced or goal-setting time. And following that framework, I don't have any kind of like goal-setting workshops or anything like that in the winter time. I have a North Star goal-setting workshop planned for the spring, because that aligns seasonally and energetically. So this may be a completely new way of thinking for you, and it definitely was for me, but it felt so much, it felt like I had more space. Like, it just gave me that, like, oh, I can take a deep breath. I don't have to do this according to the calendar, when really it didn't resonate with me anyway. So since it is the dark time, or the slow time and the dark time, winter is a time to rest, regenerate, get ready, take inventory of what you have, take inventory of your habits, take inventory of the actions that you took this year or that you have been taking. Are you doing things on repeat, just on autopilot and going through the motions because it's either familiar or because it's what you've been told is the way things are done, and you're not really benefiting from those actions, or they're not serving you? So this winter season, this winter new moon time, is a great time to look at your habits, look at your actions, and say, which ones do I want to carry with me into the next phase or the next year? If you're looking at the calendar, what are the habits, the actions, the activities, the routines, whatever it is that I do, and evaluate? Do they feel good? Are they helping me? Do I like them? Am I doing them just because? And let go of the ones that don't serve you, that don't move you forward anymore, that you're doing just out of habit or because other people expect you to do that, right? So evaluate those things at this time of year. What do you want to keep and bring forward with you, and what do you want to leave behind and not have be a part of your life or your routine, or your where you put your focus and energy into? And so, since I've been talking about this winter time and the new moon season for the year, within a season, there is 3 new moon lunar cycles. Like, each month of winter, there is a new moon in the sky, the actual lunar cycle. So if you set an overall intention let's say for the season or for the year, each of the new moons, you can either reset the same intention and work through the lunar cycle with it again, each of those 3 months, or you can set a new one that supports the main one each separate time. So you can choose to do either one that you want, or many ways to do that. Next, you can set an overall intention for the year and break it down seasonally following the seasons, or each new one can just move you in the direction. You can say, what progress have I made? And what am I gonna, what is my next intention to set? So that's just a very basic overall view. And so my next podcast in this series is going to be in the spring, and it will be the first quarter moon, and I'll be talking about taking actions. And so before I let you guys go from this episode, since we're talking seasonally and kind of ideas and energies, I pulled a card for you from the Tree of Life card deck. And the card that I pulled is the spiritual triangle, divinity, creation, and manifestation. And from the book, the sentence that jumped out at me, which I think is of course, the perfect card, is, what energy are you manifesting? And it's a simple question, but if you think about it, if we're planting the seeds and setting the intentions now for the year, what energy are you manifesting? Are you manifesting an energy of hustle culture? Are you manifesting an energy of feeling drained and depleted because you're pushing yourself too hard? Are you manifesting an energy of burnout because you're not taking the time during this winter season to recharge and regenerate? So think of that question, jot it down, maybe use it as a journal prompt, and set your intentions for the year, for the season, or for the month, for the lunar cycle that's coming up. On the next new moon is on February 9th, if you're listening to this in real time. And let me know either in the comments, wherever you're watching or listening to this, what your thoughts are, what your intentions are. You can also email me the information at vision, VISION, at bluemoonmanifestations.com. And the last thing that I will leave you with, if you're interested in working with the lunar cycle and with each individual new moon of the zodiac, because each new moon is in a new zodiac sign each month, I have a digital self-paced DIY course called Manifesting Me with the Moon, and it walks you through all 12 zodiac signs and the new moon. So what intentions are supported by that zodiac sign, actions to take that you can work with, different associations that correlate with the new moon, from essential oils to the chakras to planets, all sorts of associations that you can check out. And it is a self-paced DIY course that you can jump in at any time and go through it year after year, just like a calendar, and see how your experiences change and how you move up the spiral, as opposed to thinking of it like a flat circle. Think of yourself as you go through, that you're moving up every single time you go through the cycle. So that's what I have for you guys today for this winter episode, winter new moon episode of the Lunar Year series. Look for the spring in a few months, and I will talk to you guys next time around. Take care.